Good morning. We are live. Welcome to our last show before Christmas. I just got to tell you folks, next Wednesday we won't be here because it's Christmas. But we've got a lot to talk about today. Some very serious stuff. So I'm going to need to ask you to try very hard to take me seriously, even though I'm wearing my Merry Christmas shirt and even though I'm wearing my Santa hat. It's Christmas, folks. It's time to have a good time. It's time to be happy, even if we're talking about serious subjects. So, without further ado, let's do this. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad you're here. I am really glad you're here. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got Trump, of course, threatening to do something that would start a war again. Just constant nonsense. But before we get to that, we've got a couple quick stories that I want to go through as the everything populates. Take a second to hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. We're going to bust 100,000 here. Yeah, this happened Thursday. And if you haven't been following closely with what's been going on with the Georgia prosecution, Fani Willis was disqualified on Thursday. Remember, we went through this whole mishmash before, where Republicans made a BS allegation about Fani Willis's relationship with Nathan Wade. They held hearings about it. It was all over the press. And the judge in the case listened to it and decided there was nothing that merited her being disqualified from the case. Folks, let's just talk about this for just a second, just to remind everybody. There was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong. Fani Willis did nothing wrong. Nathan Wade did nothing wrong. Adults can have relationships, people. They can. Now, you cannot have a relationship, say you're the prosecuting attorney, you cannot have a relationship with the judge. We talked about this before, but I want to go over this one more time because this is in your face corruption. And I'm not talking about Fani Willis. I'm talking about the Republicans. I'm talking about the appellate court. This is in your face corruption. I am calling them out as corrupt. We held hearings about this. We did. Peter Campbell, thanks for being here. Wishing everyone a happy holidays. Give joy, love, and best wishes. Very glad to see you here today and every day. I'm glad you're here, my brother. I'm glad you're here. Rich, Merry Christmas, everyone. Have to watch the show later for I have a husky walking duty. Much love to everyone. Take care of that good dog, my friend. Take care of that good dog. E.T.'s in the house. Justice for thee, not for me. Happy Yule all. Exactly. Let's get back to Fani Willis. All right. The facts of the matter came out. They tried dating in the past, didn't work out. Oh, well. That's it. Even if they had been dating, there's nothing wrong with Fani Willis hiring Nathan Wade. He's not disqualified for working for the Fulton County DA's office because he's dating the Fulton County DA. He's not. They cannot be on opposing sides. Nathan Wade could not represent someone who has charges before Fani Willis. He couldn't. He couldn't represent as a defense attorney. He couldn't. He could not. And to take it even farther, Fonnie Willis, as the Fulton County DA, cannot have a case before a judge in which she has a relationship with. She just can't. That's just unethical. It's against the rules. The hypocrisy of this is the defense attorneys that are screaming about this, the Republicans, and these are Republicans. They're not just attorneys. They're Republicans. They're married. They're married. Yeah. The people on this, they're married to each other. They didn't just like date briefly. They're literally married to each other. So Scott McAfee, the judge in the case, listened to everything, all the arguments, because we had to have this hearing because it's all they have. Legally, these people have nothing to stand on. So if you can't attack the facts, attack the cops. That's just standard procedure. And Scott McAfee, a Republican, went along with it and held a hearing. And at the end of that hearing, he says, this looks bad. This just looks, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. The two adult male consenting black people, because if they'd been white, there wouldn't have been a question. There would not have been a question. But two adult male consenting black people once dated, and therefore they're working with each other. One second. So yeah, that was that, right? No, they appealed it. And the state appellate court just openly and corruptly, they are Republicans, they are partisan Republicans, said, oh no, Scott McAfee was wrong. Not only does it look bad, but yeah, she should be removed from the case. When folks, it doesn't even look bad. It doesn't even look bad. The only reason it has anything untoward, the only reason there's anything untoward considered at all about any of this is because the corporate media, they 100% towed the Republican line. Not one outlet in the corporate media stood up and said, no, where's the conflict of interest here? Where's the conflict of interest here? Show us the conflict of interest. It didn't exist. It doesn't exist. Period. But the corporate media was more than happy to put out basically what amounted to press reports from Trump and his defense team. Folks, that's what corruption looks like. That is in your face, 100% corruption. There's no proven in-court conflict of interest, but we're going to act on this anyways. That's what corruption is, folks. Period. And if this is allowed to stand, we're in way worse trouble. We are in way worse trouble than what we thought we were. Because this is not being carried out, in social media. This is not being carried out in the press. This isn't being carried. This is in a court of law. This is in a court of law. And if this is allowed to stand, we have no court of law, at least not in Georgia. So we had that going on. And then we have this. This is Granger. This is Kay Granger. Kay Granger is probably one of the most powerful people that you have never heard of. I know y'all are well-informed people, but I would be shocked if y'all knew who Kay Granger is. She was the chair of the House Appropriations Committee all the way up through March. I think she stepped down in March. And she decided to not run for re-election. Well, then Kay vanished off the face of the earth. Didn't show up for votes. Nobody's heard from her for 6 months. Finally, a reporter went snooping. And they found her. They found Kay Granger. Since June, late May, June, Kay's been living in an assisted living home that specializes in dementia. Specifically, she's been living in a memory care unit. Apparently, Kay was found walking around her district, confused and unaware of where she was and what she was doing. And she's been living in a dementia care unit for 6 months. Not showing up for votes. No one was told about this. They just very quietly changed to Tom Cole to switched to Tom Cole to be chairman of the Appropriations Committee. Folks, we found our deep state. Every Republican allegation is a confession. And they've always talked about deep state, deep state, deep state, deep state, deep state. Well, folks, if you know anything about dementia, it comes on. It's surprising. It's rapid. People feel like the onsets, the decline is rapid. But not really. Not really. People suffering from dementia identify problems for a while, for a long while. But the arc is very steep. Kay Granger did not get to where she was walking around in the street confused overnight. She didn't. People knew. So who was running her office? Who were putting out tweets like this? This one's from December 20th, before this story broke. I've been honored to have had the best congressional interns assisting me and my team. Thank you all for such great service to Texas 12 over the years. From Kay Granger on December 20th. Yeah, Kay Granger didn't put that out. And when this reporter went to find out where she was, why she hadn't showed up for a vote for 6 months, nobody's seen her. Her offices are done. They're dead. There's nobody there. He actually went and talked to people that lived in her district to find out, somebody that knew somebody that was a friend of a friend that said, oh, she's been living in a home. Michael McAndrews. Ho, 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 Santa Paul. Merry Christmas. Thank you. I appreciate the support, my friend. I appreciate the support. Stop. Metagetta from serious symptoms to incapacitation is 6 months. Right. But serious symptoms. She's been running the Appropriations Committee. But this is my point. Has she? Not really. That's not the way it works on the Republican side. Your layperson, when you talk to them about a congressman or somebody in Congress, you think that the congressman runs their office. That's how that works. No, not on the Republican side. Hasn't been that way for a very long time. On the Republican side, these congressmen are show ponies. They are. That's why you get old Chip Roy with his indignation on the House on the House, putting on his show. That's what he is. He's a show. He doesn't run his office. And they haven't for a long time. The staffers in their office work hand in hand with groups like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Now, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce likes to bill itself as though we represent small business. And they always tell our membership includes X number of businesses, and that's who funds us. That's who represents us. One study took a look and said 97% of their funding came from 1,500 donations. No, you don't represent hundreds of thousands of small businesses. You don't. When the same study said about a quarter of their funding came from just a handful of donors. That's who's running these offices through the staff. And Kay Granger is just an in-your-face, elegant proof that is what is going on. Kay Granger hasn't run anything, and she's the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee. Think about that, folks. Think how important that job is. Every one of these negotiations, continuing resolutions, budgets, debt ceilings. Yeah, Kay Granger wasn't running those. She's had dementia. And as a member of our audience just pointed out, she didn't get to walking around her district in May lost and confused overnight. And these are the same Republicans. Do you remember when Dianne Feinstein, all of us on the left were like, you need to resign. You need to resign. This is selfish. Stop it. Your state has no representation from you. And the Republicans were screaming at that time that Dianne Feinstein, look at how terrible we Democrats are, when it was we Democrats that were telling Dianne Feinstein, you've got to step down. We need people in the job that can do the job. Stop it. This isn't about you. Think about the hypocrisy of the Republican Party. They knew that the head of their appropriations committee was gone. Just mentally gone. And they know that it's groups like this, ALEC. Groups like ALEC. ALEC is the American Legislative Exchange Council. It's the Koch brothers. ALEC is really big in the States, but they're also active in D.C. They write all that horrible legislation on school vouchers and whatnot. They run the press. And they're funded by the Koch brothers. And Republicans, especially here in the state of Texas, man, and anywhere you go to a red state, you're not electing people to actually run your government. These people sit there and they let groups like ALEC write their press releases, write their legislation, tell them what to do, and then they give them a check. And the Republicans say, thank you. So when you hear me complaining about, being a Democrat's a little bit like herding cats, it is. It's because our offices aren't run that way. It is. And it's a good thing. It is a good thing. It's not an all bad thing that we don't goose step along. It's very different. And that's why when we say, this chaos, this stuff that Trump's doing, and we're about to get into what Trump's doing today, this insanity, just a handful of Republicans switching parties could end that. I mean, because we're literally as close to a 50-50 government as you get. It would literally take only a handful of Republicans to say, you know what, we can't do this. And I keep telling you that's not going to happen because it's a different job. It's a completely different job. Republicans show up and they get handed checks. They get handed memberships. You know, we talked about Ronnie Jackson here and his all of a sudden becoming members in all these business social clubs where he gets to travel all over the country and eat 5-star meals and, you know, drink at the finest bars that are always seem to be at the top of skyscrapers. That's what it means to be a Republican, folks. So no, don't look for them to do the right thing and switch parties or anything like that. But speaking of pudding brains, let's talk about the main story today. I know you folks are very, 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 very well informed. Can you tell me what skyline this is? That's some pretty cool skyscrapers there, man. I like this twisty one right here. I love that one. Can anybody guess what skyline this is? Don't Google it. Don't Google image it. I mean, that could be Qatar. That could be Dubai. Baku, that's a good guess. That's Panama City, Panama. That's Panama City, Panama. And I got to tell you, Panama City is a nice place. And hang with me. This is important. This is important. Panama City is not third world, man. It is not. And you want a Ferrari? You want a Ferrari in Panama? You can buy a Ferrari in Panama City. Yeah, here's the Ferrari dealership right here in Panama City. Panama City is the southern end of the canal. But yeah, you want a Ferrari? No problem. This is the Panama City Ferrari dealership. You can get a Bentley if you want. You can get a Bentley. I mean, it's a nice place, man. I mean, it's swanky. It is swanky. This is not third world at all. I mean, there are apartment buildings. You know, I don't know how much you think an apartment would cost in like New York, but you can get a waterfront luxury apartment in Panama City from $1,500 to $5,000 a month. I mean, it is not exceedingly expensive. Try doing that in New York City. Get a prime apartment building that overlooks the park or, you know, has a good view and see how much you pay for. And I'm not talking about a little cubby hole like you get in New York for $1,500 to $2,500 a month, which is just a studio apartment. I'm talking about multiple bedrooms with a full kitchen. It's a nice place to live, man. It really is a nice place to live. And it has been booming, just booming. But they're facing there is a real challenge right now in Panama. There is a diplomatic challenge at our doorstep right now that requires serious diplomacy. Serious diplomacy. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what's happened, folks. Donald Trump put out a tweet where he told Panama, the folks that actually own the Panama Canal, told them that they either had to lower their prices for every ship that's doing business in the United States. He stupidly said, ship, I'll read it to you in a minute. Ships that are American ships. Well, it's not American ships. I mean, America doesn't hardly flag any ships. He's talked about our Navy, which would be American ships, but he's talking about ships bound for U.S. ports. but yeah, the Panama Canal is run by the Panama Canal Authority, or the ACP. He said they have to lower their prices for us, or he's going to take it back. He's going to seize what belongs to Panama. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Back in 1977 to 79, you have to forgive me. 79, I think it was. Jimmy Carter signed a treaty with Panama and gave them the canal back. He ended the canal zone, which was American territory, and gave them the canal back. It was a 20-year process. It wasn't like they just dumped it on Panama. Panama wasn't really ready for that. They needed the revenue off of the canal. They needed to build their country up, which they've done amazingly. Which they have. I mean, Panama is an amazing place. And no, my trip to Cologne and Panama City had nothing to do with this at all. But yeah, we're facing a challenge now because they took full control of it in 1999. And since then, a problem has happened. And what led to this is Trump got a briefing. That's what happened. Trump got a briefing. He is the president-elect. And part of being the president-elect is you get briefings as to what's going on. And the United States State Department sat down with Donald Trump and told him, look, we've got an issue going on with the Panama Canal. And they explained it to him, all of it. And this was what dummy Donald Trump did with it. Did he sit down and form a team of experts and come up with diplomatic policy, a way to handle this situation? Nah, come on, man. This is pudding brains. You think he did that? I mean, do you think he did that? No. He put out a tweet threatening Panama. I'm going to read it to you. It's 2 pages. Stick with me. It's 2 pages. Stick with me. MM, thanks for being here, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Yeah, I mean, you've got to know the facts of the situation because this is way worse than what is being talked about on social media or what is being talked about in the corporate media. This is actually a very serious situation, and I happen to just know a little bit about it. But yeah, this was Donald Trump's knee-jerk reaction after being briefed. Like I said, did he put a team together to deal with this? Did he get any kind of, I don't know, expert to sit down with him and explain, hey, you know what? This would be a good policy going forward. Did he ask any questions of the briefers who could have told him, look, this is what we're already doing. It's a good policy. Let's work on it. No, he runs out and he posts this immediately to social media. The Panama Canal is considered a vital national asset for the United States. It's not a United States national asset, but yes, it's vital. Due to its critical role to America's economy and national security, 66% of everything that goes through the Panama Canal is either coming to or going from the United States. It is. It's important. A secure Panama Canal is crucial for U.S. commerce and rapid deployment of the Navy. That is true. We have an Atlantic fleet. We have a Pacific fleet. If anything really got serious in either one of those, we may have to move ships. Without the Panama Canal, they've got to go all the way around South America and add days to their trip. Oh, man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. A secure Panama Canal is crucial for U.S. commerce and rapid deployment of the Navy from the Atlantic to the Pacific and drastically cuts shipping times to U.S. ports. The United States is the number one user of the canal, with over 70% of all transits heading to or from U.S. ports. Considered one of the wonders of the modern world, the Panama Canal opened for business 110 years ago and was built at huge cost to the United States and lives and treasure. 38,000 American men died. No, that's not true. Most of the workers on the Panama Canal were not American. They were not. They hired workforces from all over. They hired workforces from all over the world. Panama is a very multicultural place because of the Panama Canal. Several thousand Americans did die working on it, but it wasn't 38,000. But what the hell are facts to this idiot? Teddy Roosevelt was president of the United States at the time of its building and understood the strength of naval power and trade when President Jimmy Carter foolishly gave it away for $1 during his term of office. It was solely for Panama to manage, not China. Aha. Now we know why you got a briefing. Now we know this came from a briefing, because this moron knows nothing about the Panama Canal and the struggles, the diplomatic struggles we're facing there. But you're about to know about it. It was likewise not given for Panama to charge the United States, its Navy, and corporations doing business within our country exorbitant prices and rates of passage. That is not true. Part of the deal is Panama charges everybody the same. That was literally part of the deal. And yeah, it was a smart thing to do. Panama has flourished as a country. It is a nice country. It is a friendly country. Folks, their currency, they call it the Balboa. It's American dollars. They're American dollars. They don't call them dollars, but it's literally American paper currency printed by Crane and Company. Your American dollars are what they use in Panama for their currency. They nicknamed it the Balboa, but it's just a nickname. It is literally American dollars. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Our Navy and commerce have been treated in a very unfair and injudicious way. Again, not true. Not true. Everybody pays the same. The fees being charged by Panama are ridiculous, especially knowing the extraordinary generosity that has been bestowed to Panama by the U.S. This complete ripoff of our country will immediately stop. That's page 1. It's not a ripoff. I mean, Panama is holding up their end of the deal. The United States has vested interest in the secure, efficient, and reliable operation of the Panama Canal. That's true. And that was always understood. It was understood, and that is part of the deal. We would and will never. And by the way, part of this deal that we made was that if Panama, and this is why you know that they have been living up to it, if Panama ever broke that deal and political interest ever did turn against us, it's written into the treaty that we can come back. That legally, it's not illegal for us to come back and take control of the canal again. This would not be a crime if this was actually what he's alleging was actually happening. But it's not happening. There is a crisis. There is a situation. Let me finish this. We would, and I will never let it fall into the wrong hands. Again, this came from the briefing about China. It was not given for the benefit of others, but merely as a token of cooperation with the U.S. and Panama. If the principles, both moral and legal, of this magnanimous gesture of giving are not followed, then we will demand that the Panama Canal be returned to us in full and without question. To the officials of Panama, please be guided accordingly. Yeah, the State Department briefed him on the specifics of the treaty, in which it does say, yes, if Panama were to jack prices on us, we literally could legally take it back. That was part of the agreement. They signed, we signed. But that's not what they're doing. Here's the rub. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. This is Isla Margarita, Margarita Island. Not really an island. It's an isthmus, but they call it Margarita Island. This is Cologne. This is the northern end of the Panama Canal. I was there just a few weeks ago. This is Cologne. Isla Margarita here, this is what you see in the red. The Chinese have invested heavily in this region. They have invested heavily. We talked about the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. One of the things that will blow your mind if you ever go to Panama is everything's new. See these cranes being delivered? They're owned by Evergreen. Evergreen is one of the world's largest shipping companies. That's why they're green. The cranes, everything in the ports, everything is new. The power grid in Panama City and Cologne has been beefed up and is like new. Where did that come from? China. It came from China. Panama has seized on hard to the Belt and Road Initiative. They have. And it's a concern for us because China is not stupid. They're making a lot of inroads into Panama utilizing funding, low interest and no interest loans, helping Panama do what they need to do to build their country. Whereas American corporations have been greedy and stupid. And it does not make me feel good to criticize my country. It doesn't at all. But the executives that we have running our businesses here in the United States are greedy and stupid. They are. Our competition, our adversaries are, take China, for instance. Take the Evergreen Corporation that has grown to one of the largest shipping corporations in the world, has China, the government, working on its side. That's smart. That is smart. What do executives in the United States do? Government's bad. Government's bad. Don't want no government. Worst thing, go back to the Ronald Reagan era and their catchphrase. What's the scariest thing that you can ever hear? Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Yeah. Folks, China has made huge inroads into Panama, and especially in Cologne and Panama City. This is Panama City. In the north, it's Isla Margarita. Down south, it is Balboa. Remember, I told you they call their Balboa is a huge part of their history. The port is named after him. The port of Balboa. There is massive amounts of investment from China and the Chinese government to the port of Balboa in the south. So yeah, we've got a problem, a real issue. We've got the Chinese. This is how the Panama Canal works. The north side is Limon Bay, where the city of Cologne is. You pull in, use these jetties and breakers, and I have to tell you, this is an impressive port. Then you travel through the first set of locks in the canal, which brings you to Gatton Lakes. Then you travel through a gigantic lake. This is really cool to see. And you follow it down back into the canal, where you go through several more locks, go past the city of Gamboa, and then you're back into the canal proper, what you imagine when you think of the canal, and you exit at the port of Balboa. It's a big deal, a very big deal, to have China influencing that situation the way that they are. It is. But China's there for the business. They are. They're there for the business. See, Cologne has one of the largest free trade zones in the world. Yep, we broke 4K, folks. Doing a good job. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That's like the follow button on other social media. It'll allow you to find my content easier. These are the kinds of things we talk about. But not only has China been investing in ports and infrastructure, China wants to do business in our hemisphere. They do. They want to do business in our hemisphere. And they have been making sure that they have access by building these ports up so that they can handle their super ships, their super container ships. We have most ports in the United States that can't handle those ships, folks. There are some ships in this world that can't come to the United States of America because we just don't have the ports that can handle the ships. Rotterdam is a perfect example of what modern ports look like. Cologne is a perfect example of what modern ports look like. William G. Atheist, thanks for the support, my brother. I appreciate you. Folks, remember what happened to the World Trade Center when the Suez was blocked for a couple of weeks? World Trade, when the Suez was blocked for a couple of weeks. Blocking Panama would make the Suez look like it would be a massive disaster. This is a very serious situation. And there's more to it. I'll come back to that in just a second. But there's more to it than just the canal. There's this. Like I was saying, Cologne is one of the largest free trade zones in the world. Zona Libre de Cologne. When we were in Cologne, we passed tons of these. There's one right down by the port that is several city blocks. And 20 years ago, these were warehouses. If you wanted to buy something there, you wanted some swanky shoes or something like that, some Nikes or something like that. You had to buy 20 cases of shoes. This was wholesale only 20 years ago. Oh no. Not anymore. Not anymore. I don't care what your super rich bougie brand is. They got a store in there. Is Kitty getting in the picture again? Thanks for the support. I will. I'll tell her she said hi. They've got a store in there. These are shopping areas. And I don't mean little shopping areas. I mean massive duty-free areas. And people come from all over the world to Cologne to shop. You know that Ferrari dealership I was showing you in Panama City? You can buy that Ferrari in Cologne. Duty-free. Duty-free. That zone in Cologne, there is no taxes on any profit that you make if you're operating your business there. There's no regulation really of any kind on the investments, and no fees on the investments. No duty to bring goods into that zone or to take them out of that zone. It is literally one of the largest pure free markets in the world. And that's why everybody, and I mean everybody, does business down there. Panama City is one of the largest banking centers in the world. They're catching up with Switzerland, folks. I mean, it is freaking huge. Thank you, Marcia. I'm glad you're here. I want to set this up so that you understand the environment of what we're talking about. No one that funds Trump wants Trump doing this. Nobody wants any kind of turmoil in Panama because of the free trade zone. And that's why China is there. That's why they're investing so heavily. Because geographically, folks, I want you to take a look at where Panama is geographically. This is Panama City. We're going to back out. And this is Cologne. That's where the free trade zone is. Keep backing out, keep backing out, keep backing out, keep backing out. Literally, dead center in the middle of our two continents. It is strategically the prime place to bring goods in and out of. It's a big freaking deal. And you would think that, we would want a good relationship with Panama, which is why Jimmy Carter did what he did. Long term, we need a good relationship with Panama. It is a jungle nation full of people. It's a beautiful place. It really is. But the executives in this country are lazy and stupid. And we're behind. We're behind. I just want to stop for a second. I want to talk about that. We talk about white privilege. Yeah. Executives in this country are lazy and stupid and behind all the time because they rely on their privilege and not just white privilege. It's the same thing in Panama. This is why Putin is working so hard to get people off the dollar because of that advantage. Folks, literally the Balboa, the currency down there is American dollars. That is a tremendous advantage. What a great statement there. What a great statement. The fattest ticks are the slowest. Yeah. Thanks for the support, Christy. I really appreciate you. Thank you. So you're understanding, right, that it's not just the canal. Yes, the canal is strategic. The canal is important. We have deals in place. We're not getting screwed. We're not. The fees that they charge, they fund their entire country with. They do. They fund their entire country with. Those fees are the same for everybody. They base it off the number of people and the value of your cargo going through. Everybody pays the same. Trump just got a briefing, and that's why I say this is so much worse. So much worse. Trump just got a briefing, and dummy couldn't follow it. Pudding brains couldn't follow it. He couldn't understand what is going on down there. Keeping the free trade zone in mind and the relationship that China's already built down there and the amount of trade. Folks, I was seeing Geely cars down there. Do y'all know who Geely is? It's a Chinese manufacturer, one of the biggest in the world. Japan is neck deep down there. There are Hondas everywhere. Folks, if you travel, there aren't Hondas everywhere. There aren't. Hondas are expensive. Hondas are more expensive than Toyotas. You'll see Toyotas everywhere, but you won't, because Toyota will manufacture all over the third world. They will. Hondas are more expensive. They have more exacting demands on their manufacturers. They're not cheap. There are Hondas everywhere in Panama because Japan is working really, really hard in Panama. Thank you for the support, Brian Peach. I appreciate you, my man. Merry Christmas to all the potheads. Have a family get together and some good food. Love all. But I just really wanted to stress to you why this is so bad. Diana, thanks for the support. Love, love who you are and everything you do. My sister is smitten with it. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Diana. I do. Very flattering. But yeah, here's the deal. Just to make it completely clear, just to sum it up, this is who runs the Panama Canal. This is the ACP. This is their building, their headquarters. They're not doing any favors. They're not punishing us. It's the same fees everywhere. We have a concern. China, basically due to our pressure, is offshoring. They're offshoring. And they're making tremendous inroads into Central America. And we're behind. We are behind. So what we would need there is good diplomatic strategy. We would need investment in Panama. We would need teams of people down there that understand the businesses, they understand the interests, they understand where Panama is today. They can understand the relationships Panama has with China, because China, over the last 20 decades, helped Panama go from being this place. Like I said, if you wanted to go to the Cologne free trade zone 20 years ago, you had to buy wholesale level crap to take advantage of it, to a place that has luxury brands everywhere that you can get duty. I don't mean knockoffs. I mean real luxury brands you can get duty free. There's an entire tourism industry built around shopping trips. And people just shove it in their suitcases and fly home. And when they get to the United States, which we normally have about a 5% duty on stuff like that when it came back, no, I don't have anything to declare. Nothing. I'm good. I had that purse when I left. That was my purse. I had it when I left. My $30,000 Hermes bag that I got tax-free and duty-free. It's a big deal. It's a big freaking deal. And we are behind. I can't stress that enough. We are behind. And here comes Trump. Appreciate the support. Zahira Sharif. Zahira Sharif, thank you. I appreciate you. Good morning, sir. My coffee is good. Hope yours is better. That's a fine thing to wish somebody, isn't it? So Trump, rather than, like I said, I mean, now that you've got the big picture, doesn't it look just 1,000 times worse? Doesn't it just look 1,000 times worse? Instead of putting a team together, understanding the significance of it, understanding the importance of it, because yeah, the Panama Canal is hugely important. Understanding that we're behind in this situation and what our advantages are and how to utilize the advantages we have diplomatically moving forward, spurring investment, encouraging investment. Do you know what? Kind of like what the Biden administration does. Does he do something like that? Now we're going to take it back. You better cut us a deal, which would be illegal. It would be illegal. If they cut us a deal, that would literally break the treaty that we signed with them, that we demanded. All we demanded was everybody pays the same because we're willing to compete. What Trump is demanding literally breaks that treaty. But he didn't talk to anybody. He didn't talk to anybody. Bucky Beaver, appreciate you. Thank you for being so supportive and informed at such a scary time. Thank you for being so supportive and informed at such a scary time. Hey, man, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Is to stay informed so that we know what's going on and to form a community where we can look out for each other. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So I'm going to ask you again one more time, and I want to hear what you think about this because we've got two more stories we got to talk about before we move on. E.T., thanks for the support, man. American and British corporations are why things in SA and Iran are the way they are today. Greed. Exactly. We have corporations out there that are run by very stupid, very lazy, very stupid, very lazy executives here in the U.S. They can't see the big picture. Everybody wants to be their own emperor. They don't understand working with the government. All they ever know is trying to scam, trying to get away. And a lot of them are getting really rich. But folks, we lose to China operating that way. We lose because China doesn't do business that way. China doesn't do business that way. If you are an executive and you do not cooperate for the greater good of China, you die. That's what we're up against. That's what we're up against, folks. And we have Trump who's going to cannonball into this pool and squeeze out a big, gigantic turd and turn the Panamanian people against us, who right now we've got the advantage. They use our dollars. They have affection towards us. We gave them the canal. They know the canal is their moneymaker. I don't know that we survive 4 more years of this stupidity. Dennis and Janice, thanks. Happy holidays, Mr. and Mrs. Texas Paul and all the potheads. Thank you so much for this channel and community. It keeps us up to date and saves our sanity. We're going to have to intervene, folks. I don't know that we can survive 4 more years of this stupidity. I mean, this is a serious time of crisis in the world. Some of these things are really coming to a head. Thanks for the support. I appreciate you, Dollar Straws. I mean, God, it just blew my mind knowing that situation and this moron coming out with this tweet. It's insane. It's insane. And I tell you, our executives are going to have to get their shit wired straight. They just are. Because it's not just Panama. It's not just Panama. Netanyahu, I told you. I support Israel, but I despise Netanyahu. Cannot survive peace. He cannot. Well, he's made his plan for Gaza. He's turned over the gate in Rafah to Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian Authority. And we've talked about it in the past, why the Palestinian Authority was not in charge in Gaza. It was Hamas. Right now, the Palestinian Authority is flexing its muscle in the West Bank. They are cracking down on Islamic militants, and they're making sure that they're not going to have any competition, is what they think they're doing. Because Netanyahu is going to turn Gaza over to the Palestinian Authority. And he's not doing it for success. He's not doing it for the Palestinian people. He's doing it because that means war. That means constant war and infighting. And he knows it. He knows it. The Palestinian Authority cannot govern Gaza. They can't. These is radicals that are the people that flock to Hamas in the first place will wage war on the Palestinian Authority. And the threat will remain. the threat will remain. And that is Netanyahu's entire goal, because he cannot survive peace. He cannot. Because if there isn't a threat and there isn't war, he's just a crook. He's just a crook. And Israel puts him in jail. So, yeah, I mean, it's just as heartbreaking as can be, but it looks like that is exactly what's going to happen. And Mahmoud Abbas is stupid enough to think that he can expand his monopoly that he's got. Remember, we talked about the Falcon Group. We talked about the Mahmoud Abbas family and how they have an extreme monopoly over everything in the West Bank. They can't survive peace either. They can't survive peace either. If peace broke out in the West Bank, people would just demand better services and competition. And Abbas would lose his monopoly. This is the same, it's musical chairs of bad actors just to continue on this crap to make sure that the average people are just held down. And it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Grady Crawford says Trump is a bull in the china shop. Amen, brother. He is. He's less than stupid. I believe he has severe mental decline. What fool would get a State Department briefing and then turn around and immediately start tweeting? What fool? I swear to God, he has got to have just pudding for brains. Just pudding for brains. But yeah, I wish I could give you some good news about Gaza. I was really kind of hopeful that after the fall of Hamas, they would put it, but no. Netanyahu is going to do everything he can to shoehorn the Palestinian Authority there. The most powerful families in Gaza are not going to accept Abbas and his family taking over their business. And it is just intentionally meant to be a disaster. And here we go again, folks. Here we go again. Last story I've got for you today is about this guy. Washington County man in custody following weeks on the run for alleged assault at Crazy Donkey. Joshua Atwood, 30, is charged with armed robbery and malicious assault. It was back in May of 2023. Paul, what the hell are you talking about? It's just an armed robbery in some Pennsylvania, just some, restaurant. What's the big deal with that, man? I mean, well, this is Justin Atwood. This is Atwood. He's lead pipe guy. And he wasn't immediately convicted. It took years to finally get him sentenced. Finally. But in the meantime, he commits a robbery and an assault. Folks, I don't know why so few people paid attention in history class. I don't know why they don't understand that people that participate in things like January 6th are frickin' criminals. But they are. They just are. And I don't understand the hesitation to just drop the hammer on these people. Folks, Brazil did it immediately. When they tried this stuff in Brazil, they had them in handcuffs, tried and imprisoned immediately. This is December 20th of 2024. He finally gets sentenced to 48 months in jail. Finally. We're talking January 2021 to December 20th of 2024. And he's out there criming in between. What the hell, folks? What the hell? Look, it's not hyperbole when I say we got to stick together. We have got to stick together. We just do. This is my plea to you. It's not fun and games. It's the only strategy that we have going forward is if I take care of you, you take care of me, we stick together. And I'm begging you folks. Peter Campbell, thanks for the support, brother. When you are surrounded by people that only tell you what you want to hear, eventually your brain stops functioning, thus Trump pudding brain syndrome. TPBS is real. Yeah, I agree with you, sir. But look, all of this is really happening. It's really happening. Opening corruption down with Fonnie Willis in Georgia, being taken off the case for no legitimate legal reason. Even the appellate court said, well, it just looks bad. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad at all. It doesn't. Randy Oliver in the house. Stock up on coffee. 2025 is going to be a long year. Y'all have a happy holidays. Yeah. It's going to be a long 4 years. And that's where I'm going with this. Trump's incompetent. He is. We're going to have to work to mitigate the damage that he does. And there's only one way to do it, folks. And I keep telling you this. We have to stick together as a community. You and me. We do. We cannot let them change who we are. We can't. We've got to keep coming together and reinforcing to each other who we are. That's one thing. The other thing is, I'm begging you, please call your local Democratic Party and get involved in any way you can. I mean, if you can postcard for them, if you can, any way you can. If you can't find your local one, call your state Democratic Party and find out who to get in touch with, because we're going to have to resist, folks. We are going to have to resist. We're going to have to mitigate this damage. Trump is a moron. Not only is he a man of low character, but he's a moron. And if we want to come out the other side of this, we're going to have to do it, folks. We're going to have to do the lifting. We're going to have to make sure things are done above board, that things are done right. I mean, look at this last continuing resolution fight. You know, Republicans stripping cancer funding out. It was Democrats working to get some of it put back in for pediatric cancer because they don't want hotspots tracked. They're corrupt, and they're corrupt in your face. Look what the Republicans did down in Georgia. That's corruption in broad daylight. There's only one way to fight that, and that's to come together as tight as we can. Not just here, hit the subscribe button, not just here, but with the Democratic Party, even when they do things that you disagree with, it's the only path forward. It just is, folks. We can't do this on our own. They want us split up. They want us fighting amongst ourselves because we're weak that way. If we backlash this and come together tighter, they lose. This is almost a 50-50 government. We still can, Hakeem Jeffries showed you, we can fight. We can still fight. But man, they got to know you got their backs. Even when they do something that you don't like or agree with 100%. I have spent the last several days on social media dealing with people that I didn't think I was going to have this fight with. I mean, these are people that I know and respect that were going along for clicks. instead of telling people, look, I get it. You don't like this happened. You don't like that. But you know what? This bullshit about, oh, the Democratic Party's over, that's got to stop. That's got to stop. And I got to tell you, a lot of folks that do what I do went along for clicks instead of telling people what they need to hear, instead of telling them what they want to hear. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you it's all going to be okay. It's not. There's going to be some shit that's going to happen that's just going to make you sick over the next 4 years. But I will tell you the truth. The only way going forward is if we stick together and we fight together. So pretty please, pick up the phone, get a hold of your local Democratic Party. And when I say local, I mean local, because it was local judges that run for office that just took Fannie Willis off that case. You can sway those elections in your state. You can. It only takes a handful of people. Those elections are razor close. You're talking sometimes hundreds to just maybe a few thousand. We just had an election for an appellate court judge here. I've invited her. She's agreed to come on the show. We're trying to make arrangements for it. An appellate court judge here in the state of Texas. Came down to like 1,400 votes. You can do that. That's why I say focus local. Get it done. Well, look, folks, that's what I've got for you today. I want to take a few minutes. Thanks from people. Jeanette Dahl, appreciate the support. I really appreciate the support. That Corona goes a long way. Part of our international audience, folks, there. She's from Denmark. Tim, thank you, sir. Thank you for the help. I appreciate you. I can't do it without you people funding it. I can't. I'll give you an example of one of the things y'all pay for. I have a backup system that I pay for. You'll notice that's different from my main phone. I have 2 cell phones. That's $250 a year that you pay for. Not because I use 2, I don't. That thing sits like a brick most of the time. But I don't have the infrastructure here, so I have to have backup systems. And y'all pay for that. And I can't do it without you because I can't afford to do it without you. It's just when the system would go down, we just wouldn't have shows. So I appreciate you. Flint says, what's the betting Trump pardons lead pipe guy next month? No kidding. That's why I said we have got to stick together. Because they're going to do horrible crap like that. They really are. Gail Burnell. My new hobby is emailing my senators and representatives and voicing my opinion. I have had an aide call me back. Good job. Merry Christmas. Good job. And I'm not saying you've got to goose step along, folks. That's not what being a ride or die Democrat's about. It's not goose stepping along. You call your Democratic senators and you tell them how you want them to fight. But the point is, we don't just throw them under the bus when they can't do everything that we want them to do. RC Maverick, thank you for doing what you do. Hey, thank you for being here and letting me do what I do. It is my privilege. Merry Christmas, Webb. I appreciate the support, my friend. Enjoy your holidays. Happy holidays to everybody that doesn't celebrate Christmas. My friend Randy Oliver, thank you guys. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate all the support. And I hope you're finding it useful. Linda Orndorff in the house. Merry Christmas, everybody. Barb, thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody. Again, I will not be here. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Walks for Women. Appreciate you. There's a new supporter right there. Thank you. Merry Christmas from DL, another new supporter. Wow, a big donation from Karen Symes. Thank you. I appreciate you. I want to remind you, Wednesday is Christmas. I will not be here. We're going to be spending time with the family. I want you to go. I want you to have a Merry Christmas with your family. We will see you on Friday. and getting ready for that new year. Patty Angeles says, my first time to see one of your live chats. I'm glad you could be here. It's really different when it's live and you can put your comments out there and people can see what's going on. The parallel conversations y'all have are priceless. The additional information that y'all add, I'm not kissing your ass when I say you people are incredibly informed, and that is super valuable. I am super grateful for you to be here. Thank you. Last comment, and then I'm out of here. Catherine Celeste Smith, good morning, all. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so. Again, I watched YouTube for years without subscribing to any channels because I thought it was going to be a hassle because it said subscribe. They need to change that. It's just the follow button. That's all it is. It's like every other bit of social media that you use. It's just the follow button. That's all it is. But it's hugely important to the algorithm. So pretty please hit that subscribe button. Let's bust 100,000. And on that note, Merry Christmas, all. Merry Christmas from the Schroeder family to you. Hold your folks tight. It's going to be a hell of a 4 years, but we can do this together. Love y'all.